WagerTalk and Sports Memo customers love $9 Mondays, where each package is just $9. For a limited time from June 1st until June 7th, we're offering a 30-day all-access pass from your favorite handicapper for $210. That's only $7 per day. This special includes all daily plays from your favorite handicapper every day for 30 days, including 5% plays normally priced at $39 alone. Use coupon code June30, good for multiple uses at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. Once you sign up, you'll get every play sent to you as soon as they post it.
Welcome in on a very happy Friday to you here. It is the NBA Tip-Off Show powered by WagerTalk.com. We've got one game in the books, which means we're that much closer to crowning a champion here in the association. And what in the world happened last night? Well, we've got three guys here today you're going to want to hear from. Not only talk about what happened yesterday, but of course what is going to happen Sunday in the all-important game number 2 as we welcome in Andy Lang in the house, Steve Merril, and Tony Mejia here when he's not betting on Belarus soccer. Gentlemen, welcome in here on this Friday. Don't you look, Andy, because I know you got a darts tournament coming up you're betting on as well. Let us try and digest what happened last night here, because it was, shall we say, parts of it were expected, parts of it not so expected there. But Andy, either way, I know you are locked and loaded here coming up this weekend. A lot going on in the world. So tell us, what do you got for us at WagerTalk.com, and what did you think of that game last night?
Well, the game didn't surprise me that much. We had a ticket on the Boston Celtics over 104.5 team total. I fully expected Boston to thrive against a Golden State defense that I thought was highly overrated and really not tested a whole lot. And we got a 40-point fourth quarter, but we survived a really tough stretch in the third quarter, and they fly over their team total. And I think Golden State's got some real issues on the defensive end. They gave up way too many open threes, so they're going to have to fix something on that. I'm just not sure about the roster and the pieces that they have. This isn't the Golden State Warriors of years past where they can throw out the most insane defense that we've seen. So, but I already have a play up for Sunday's game. As soon as the Lions came out, I made sure to lock this one in. So that's up on WagerTalk.com, and of course, we got NHL playoffs and MLB and all that stuff. But I'm anxious to see what Tony and Steve thought of this game. I think there's a lot of angles that you can look at. So really, really interested to see what these guys have to say today.
Well, yeah, one of the angles is if you shoot 51% from three, Merrill, in a finals game, your ass ain't losing. So I think maybe that's a good takeaway. The question is whether or not we think Boston can keep that kind of shooting up, my friend. But I know you got math for us. There's some sort of package deal going on. Talk to us, Merrill. What do you got for us heading into the weekend?
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you mentioned package. I was about to jump into the game one recap, but I forgot that I had a nice 3-0 sweep last night because we do have baseball going as well. 2-0 sweep in MLB. Of course, we hit 67% for the month of May. We're now 67% of the month of June. 2-1 start already. 3-0 sweep last night because we did have the Boston Celtics as well. Never in doubt as they were down by 12 heading into the fourth quarter. I saw that 17-0 run coming. I'm sure Andy Lang saw it as well, and Tony Mejia. Look, Joe, I told you if you could tell me ahead of time, 3-point shooting margins, we picked some winners here. Luckily, you did not tell me, because if you'd only told me Golden State was going to be 42%, I probably wouldn't have liked the Celtics as much. But as you said, they were 51%. Combined, the teams are an NBA record 40 for 86. Al Horford, who averages about 1.5 threes a game, was 6 for 8. That's an NBA Finals debut record all time. Al Horford was 40-1 to win the MVP before Game 1. We all talked about him here on the show. Actually, I think one of you all did mention it. It was either Teddy, you or Jay money. I think it might have been Jay. I know Teddy wasn't on board with Mike Curry if you like the Warriors prop. But yeah, I think, this series is still going to come down to 3-point shooting. The question is, will the defenses play better in game 2? We'll talk about that. The meantime, check out that baseball special. You can still get the NBA Finals for free when you get my $4.99 baseball season, which is a huge discount. Normally it's $8.94. Everything through the World Series for $4.99, and includes the rest of the NBA Finals. 3-0 sweep last night, looking to sweep again this weekend.
All right, plenty of opportunities coming our way this weekend. Obviously, Game 2, Mejia, just around the corner, although, I don't know, they dragged the finals out here. It feels like it's going to take a month and a half to get through this series. But I guess if you're going to outscore somebody, 40-16 in the fourth quarter, there were questions about how maybe Boston, they can't finish. They became the first team in NBA Finals history to be down double digits heading into the fourth, only to win by double digits, Tony Mejia. Amazing effort by them. What did you think, and what do you got locked and loaded for us heading into the weekend at WagerTalk?
Yeah, that was a wild fourth quarter. Just something that you don't very often see. And, 40-13 until that late meaningless 3 by Bjelica. So it was a dramatic beatdown. Draymond Green was terrible in there, and somebody asked him about being terrible in the press conferences. From my days covering the league, I have a fancy for watching every finals press conference, and they make that easy to do on NBA TV. So I enjoy the dialogue, and they flat out asked Draymond if he had a bad game, and he kind of said, well, no, I don't think so. And then he thought about it, and he's like, well, I'll be better. And if I rewatched the game because I was up to about 6 a.m. working on baseball and other stuff, soccer. I rewatched the game, and if you watch the fourth quarter, he messed up everything in that fourth quarter. Errant passes, missed switches, missed layups, the 2 missed free throws. But I won't entirely put it on Draymond Green. I mean, he had help in blowing that game, but just a crazy finish. I was on the Celtics, for the series, so fortunate to get that win. And although Al Horford is in the lead for Finals MVP, Jaylen Brown at plus 1,100 is my play, and he's off to a very nice start as well. We're looking forward to Game 2. I might have a 5% play. We'll have to see. I'm going to rewatch the game again to see if I get any edges, and have MLB stuff up. I'm on a 12-1 MLB run that ended this afternoon with Cubs Cardinals first 5 under, getting killed by, I think it was 9-3 or something by the time we hit the fourth inning. And more baseball tonight, 4% play. Soccer 5-1 yesterday. Got some Nations League action going as we speak. France hit the woodwork, by the way, so you were denied there, and so was I because I'm on the over. And a little bit of USFL. So everything for the masses this week at WagerTalk.
Yeah, appreciate you, letting me know that I can throw up in my mouth on the break here. That's great, Mejia. All right, well, gentlemen, interestingly enough, the line came out shortly after the game was over last night, and we talked about it on the show yesterday. Rob Dino and I, we thought we were going to be getting points there. We thought maybe it was a little undervalued there with the total. Well, it went over. It went over in the first half, went over the full game. So what do we get now as an opening line? Welcome in to the Boston Celtics. Now getting 4 points, 4.5 in some spots here with that total of 215.5 at a open here. Golden State at home, and maybe exactly what the Golden State Warriors needed, which was a backhand right to the side of the head. Andy Lang wouldn't be the first team that coasted their way to a finals, and then the first game they get in there, whack! Now they're down 1-0 on their own home court, and usually it's the teams with, well, that experience that say, all right, wake up, it's go time now. Whether or not they can do it will remain to be seen, but the lines are out, which means you got to be keying on a couple of guys from a prop betting perspective. What are you looking at, Andy?
Well, a couple takeaways from last night's game. First one you can't find on a stat sheet. I thought Golden State got tired. I know 40-16 is not going to be every fourth quarter, but I really thought that the rest that Boston got after those series, Miami was just a grueling series for them. Milwaukee was a grueling series for them. I think they're more battle tested, and the rest came at a perfect time for them. And I saw Golden State just get a little bit tired as the game went on. They didn't have a counterpunch late in the game, and I think Boston's going to keep bringing that physicality. So it wouldn't surprise me if Boston, you see them do this a couple times where in the fourth quarter they pull away just because the legs of Golden State, especially on defense, isn't going to be there. For something on the stat sheet, I mean, there's all kinds of things you can look at. I guess I would just look at, I'm not really sure what Jordan Poole's role is right now. He's minus 19 plus or minus. He had 9 points. He was terrible on defense. And if you're Jordan Poole and you play that level of defense, I think you have to put up 20 points for him to justify being in the lineup. I thought Porter Jr. was actually better than him when he was out there. I mean, Porter made 4 or 5 3-pointers. I don't expect that, but he's at least some size. He's better on defense. But I think they have some real problems when Steph Curry goes to the bench and you bring in Poole. There's just not a lot of scorers there. Klay Thompson cannot blow by anybody on this Celtics team, so you're kind of left with him shooting threes. He was, 3 of 7 from 2-pointers. I think they have some real problems if Steph isn't going nuclear. And I think the Celtics are looking really good. I would look at Tatum. If you have the domestic books, take a look at Tatum over his rebounds plus assists. It's 12.5 right now, and he had 13 assists. So he got over just with one category. So that could be a sneaky category on these domestic books. Tatum there. Horford, you got to expect some regression. I would take his under-made 3-pointers next game. You got to expect the books are going to bump that a little bit. And then, for the Warriors, Draymond, his shooting was terrible. But again, his rebounds and assists, he had 11 rebounds, 5 assists. That's another great category that he can pad the stat sheet with. If they lower Draymond Green's points to 6.5, I would take the over. He was 2 for 12. He's not going to be that bad. They'll get him some shots, not 3-point shots. They should get him some other shots. So, and then I'll have my best bet on another player prop. But I would look at Draymond Green, rebounds, assists, Tatum, rebounds and assists, and then Al Horford to kind of regress back to the mean on his points. So look for an under for that one.
Yeah, Draymond, what's the word I looked? Sucked ass, Steve Merril. It was not a good game for him on any stretch there. I will say this, too. It's fascinating with this Boston team because it seems that the better their offense is clicking, Merril, the better their defense comes, right? So their defense actually feeds off where if they're hitting shots and Horford's there and White's out there, that defense clamps down even harder. The best chance is to, run interference and keep them off their game, out of rhythm, and then the defense suffers a little bit with Boston. The question is, you think Golden State can make some defensive adjustments to, I don't know, leave just about everybody wide open for a 3-point shot there at some point in the game? What do you think we get, Merril?
Yeah, I mean, Tony was talking about how you rewatched the game. I rewatched that fourth quarter this afternoon, and the thing that jumped out to me when they, after you know what's going to happen, you look at things a little differently. That's like why I like rewatching it the second time. And obviously, it was 100-100. Horford hit the big 3, and that's when they went on the 17-0 run. He hit back-to-back threes actually to tie it and then take the lead. But Golden State just kept missing shots, and that's when Boston kept getting transition baskets. So, like you said, Boston is better off a make. Golden State's defense is also going to be better off a make as well because Boston got a lot of those baskets late when they went on that 17-0 run the last 6 minutes off of transition, off of Golden State misses. You talked about Draymond Green. He did lead the team in fouls, so he had that going for him with 6.
Good point.
But we haven't talked about fouls yet. And Steph Curry, 21 points in the first quarter, 0 points in the second quarter because he had 3 early fouls. He only finished with 3 fouls, so I'm not sure why you sit him, to be honest. He's not going to get 6. The refs aren't going to let him get 6. It just isn't going to happen. But that's something else. If you're looking for a reason to maybe back Golden State, you can say, well, first of all, Curry technically had foul trouble. Draymond Green got 6. That won't be as bad. Al Horford is not going to score 26 points. In fact, I like his under as well, Andy. It's 11.5 right now at DraftKings for total points. So they're obviously not playing around. He had 26. But you look at his earlier games here in the playoffs in recent weeks, other than the fact he also missed a game a few weeks ago. He had 5, 3, and 5 in 3 of his previous 4 games. He had 16 in the other one. This is a guy that scored more than 11.5 points only, I think, 3 times played in the playoffs for the last 9 even. Look for a regression there. He's not going to hit 6 out of 8 threes. This is a guy, as I said, averages less than 1.5 threes a game. And it's not like he's lightning fast. You know, he's not going to just zip by, and they can shut him down from 3 if they want to shut him down. They just didn't try to do it. Derek White's another guy. Look for a little bit of a regression, obviously, after a huge game. I'm a little apprehensive to play him under, though, because he's more athletic. I'm not sure Golden State can shut him down. As Andy said also, you know, with Poole, his defense is shaky right now. I like Poole as a player, but he did not step up last night. And White is playing really well right now. In 4 of his last 5 games, he's had 13 points or more. So that 21 last night might not have been as much of an outlier as Horford's. And his over total points at DraftKings right now is 9.5. So I'd rather have Horford under the 11.5 than White under 9.5. I think they both regress, but I'm not sure White's going to regress that much. By the way, he was 0 for 8 in the last regular season meeting against the Warriors. Horford also did not score much in the last meeting. He didn't play in the other game. So I really think if you're looking at Golden State, you can make some cases here. Foul trouble. Celtics can't shoot any better, and they were still down by 12 entering the fourth quarter. With that said, though, I do think there's some matchup problems. It's hard to make a case for the under. You know, as I said, game one's usually 10 under. I stayed off it. I used to hear on the show, but I stayed away from it because I was worried the teams would shoot lights out, and that's exactly what happened. We'll see if the defense shows up in game 2.
Yeah, first half over, full game over, never really in doubt there at all. I will say one thing about Al Horford. One thing I can guarantee you, today is his birthday. He is now 36 years young today, so a hell of a way to celebrate your birthday weekend there, Mr. Horford, by dropping threes from all over the court last night. But something tells me Tony Mejia is not going to say this is going to happen on a consistent basis. But, Tony, we also have to remember, on a night where it feels like everybody on the Boston Celtics could hit from anywhere they want, everybody except Jason Tatum, who became a facilitator last night because he couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. So it was interesting to watch him say, all right, I'm not going to try to shoot my way out of this. I'm just going to give everyone else the opportunity. And wouldn't you know it, everybody else delivered. Kind of hard to match that script again in game 2, isn't it?
Yeah, no question. Tatum with 13 assists, but he would have been the GOAT. I mean, we don't talk about what a dog he was if his teammates don't bail him out. But he was facing triple teams and for the most part making smart plays, but trying to get himself going. And ironically, when that first minute of the fourth quarter began, he forced a shot and he missed it, and he tried to come down again and missed an easy bunny. And then after that, it was when Jaylen Brown really took over with the step back jumper, and then the threes and the flurry and getting them back in the game. But yeah, look, Tatum's not going to get 13 assists in this game, and let's not forget that he's had bad shooting games in the series against the Bucks and the Heat, and bounced back in big ways with over 30 points in both of those games. I don't think he goes for over 30 against the Warriors on Sunday, but I do think he'll have a much better outing. A couple hours after, 16, 17 hours after the Celtics upset Golden State in San Francisco. France gets upset in Paris by Denmark. Sorry. The other thing that I noticed was that Steph Curry had such a great start that it set the tone for the way that the game unfolded. I mean, it was a 60-point first quarter, and then you had the Warriors dominate with a 38-point third quarter, and then the 40-point fourth quarter for the Celtics, and we still only got over by 14 points. So I'm not necessarily sure that the over is the way to go, even though it started at 215.5, which is higher than where it started in game 1. It just the 3-point shooting, 44-86. Do you think we're going to see that again? Boston shoots 50.6% from the field. The one thing that added to that, not going into the 230s and 240s, is that there were only 31 free throws, I believe. And nobody could talk about the officiating because they both shot pretty much the same amount of free throws, even though Draymond was the only one guy in foul trouble. Well, all of his fouls were earned. He wasn't out there bitching at the refs, saying the only time I saw him clamoring for a foul was on the offensive end. So, a lot to digest in the fact that both of these teams are going to sit there Saturday doing their final film studies, thinking, "Man, we should have won this game, and we're in good shape for Game 2," which makes it a very interesting second contest.
Very interesting. A couple of things to pull away from the game as some trends are starting to emerge here. Number one, Rob Vino alluded to it on the show yesterday, and we double-checked even after last night. The Boston Celtics have dominated the second quarter throughout the playoffs, no matter who they have played. It started with Brooklyn. Obviously, it took over with Milwaukee, with Miami, and they did it again yesterday with a monster. It was like, hey, Steph, you want to make all these threes in the first? Yeah, who cares? Here we come in the second quarter, and they really have changed the number of games in this year's playoffs by owning that second quarter. And then you got Golden State does it again, third quarter, coming out of the break. Like, if we're not betting Golden State third quarter, I don't know what the hell we're waiting for here, guys. There's money to be made here. But do you find that interesting, Mejia, that it's the second quarter with Boston that's been the money maker with them? Now, I believe 13-6 in the playoffs this season, them just outright beating their opponents in the second quarter. So maybe some value there as well.
Yeah, maybe it's tied to defensive adjustments, just getting to see what you're facing and what teams are trying to do against you. And because they're such a superior defensive team in terms of being able to switch, they're able to figure some things out. I think that's the case. Look, Ime Udoka is really making a name for himself this postseason, and obviously in 2022, because his tail end of 2021, after getting the Celtics job, he had a sub 500 team, and everybody was calling for him being incompetent. 2 timeouts in the final 3:30-ish just to set up big plays at a timeout. I thought that was incredibly impressive. And then he still had 2 timeouts to burn where Kerr had only 1. And I love Steve Kerr, so I'm not criticizing his game plans, but at the same time, he's telling his team, we're hearing it coming out of the break, we're only down 3. They've made their run. They're making everything, 6 for 6, I think, at that point from 3-point range in the fourth. But this is our house. All we have to do is make them feel us, and an immediate turnover, and they come down and hit another 3. So it was almost like if the series ends with the Celtics winning a championship, that was the passing of the baton right there. An older team in the Golden State Warriors, and I totally agree with Andy, a smaller team that felt the physicality of the bigger Boston Celtics, ultimately wilting and losing to the Eastern Conference champs. And, I went with the Celtics in 6 or 7. I didn't really pick anything on that just because I really think that they're the superior team. They beat a Miami Heat team that I think would have beaten these Warriors as well, although they would have had some issues shooting the ball last night as well as the Celtics did. And we'll see. I mean, I agree with everybody. Derek White and Al Horford aren't going to do that again, but neither is Jason Tatum. So it all evens out.
Yeah, no, it's all going to even out in the end, but there are some interesting numbers now available with the Celtics, Merrill, winning game 1 here. We see some of those exact series outcomes there with the Celtics in 4-1, 4-2, 4-3. And if you were holding off on Golden State, the zigzag you got to feel is alive and well. And I don't know. You can't say must win, Merrill, but can Golden State recover from and head to Boston down 2-0 here? Kind of feels like they better get it done here in this Sunday game.
Yeah, keep in mind, Boston's been the team that's been better on the road. We talked about it on Wednesday that Golden State actually has not been a very good road team in the playoffs. They've done all their damage at home. Of course, a couple of those were blown game 4s up 3-0 against Denver and who was the other one? Dallas, so maybe they weren't fully focused here. But yeah, Golden State has not been a great road team. Boston has been a great road team. So you could definitely see a scenario where this could be 2-0 heading back to Boston. The one advantage Golden State does have still is home court, and it's not a 2-3-2 like we had seen in years past. So they will get game 5 back in Golden State. They won't have to play 3 straight in Boston, which would really be tough down 0-2. Also, we get extended 2 days off in between all those travels. So if Golden State is the older, more fatigued team, like maybe it looked last night in that fourth quarter, the extended rest should help them as well. Speaking of numbers, I'm just getting a kick out looking at some of the pre-game 1 numbers. We talked about Horford, 40-1 the MVP. Derek White was 250 to 1 to be the MVP. I don't think he'll get it done. But as I mentioned, he's had 13 or more in 4 of his last 5 playoff games. I think if anyone's going to keep it going, it's more likely him than Horford. Also, leading scorer for the series, Tatum was minus 110. That ain't looking too good now.
Nope.
Assist leader, he probably had a pretty good price on him. I think he was like 650. And then 3-pointers made average per game, Horford was like 80 to 1 to be the highest in that regard. He's 6 for 8 right now. So if he makes 1 or 2 a game, he might get that title at 80 to 1. So that just shows you in big picture how crazy game 1 was. I mean, Tatum 3 for 17 and 13 assists, as we've talked about. And by the way, Tony mentioned that bad game that Tatum had recently for actually games against Milwaukee. Well, he had 10 points, but he was just 4 for 19 shooting. He bounced back with 30 points and 34 points and 46 points in his next 3 games. So his over-under, I believe, is around 28.5. Might seem a little high, but might not be high enough. So I would look for him to bounce back over. Horford under. White, I was looking under, but once again, at 9.5, I'm a little dicey on that one. I think he could have some good games still.
All right. Well, also, you mentioned some of these pre-series numbers, guys. How about when all of this started? We had Celtics Warriors final at 16 to 1, and we had a Celtics beating the Warriors in the finals, guys, at 33 to 1. So there are some people, I'm sure, with tickets out there with pretty big paydays here, depending on how this goes. But one of the narratives, Andy, and the guys in the chat room are all over this. Klay Thompson, not the same Klay, or at least not the same Klay everyone thinks he's going to be. How about from a prop betting perspective here? Klay's tough because you keep waiting for the old Klay to show up. So you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, if you fade him. But it just feels like this Boston Celtics, the size, the youth of this team, it got to be kind of take advantage of the market overvaluing, thinking Klay is who he's not anymore here. What have you seen?
I look for his rebounds under. He can't get inside. He shouldn't be inside.
Crazy.
He's not going to be able to do much. And you're talking about the second quarter. I thought that was interesting. I think Boston, with their rotation, has a real advantage going in the second quarter. You think of it, that first series against Brooklyn. Brooklyn has no bench, so
right.
The start of the second quarter, they're going to be without without Durant or Kyrie, and then Middleton being out, that crushed the second quarter rotation for Milwaukee, and then the Miami Heat with all their injuries, they were without a real because that's when Curry sits, and they just don't have anybody to bring in to match that. So I looked at that again. In fact, and in the regular season, Boston, the second best team covering the second quarter spread. The worst team, of course, Joe, second quarter is the Houston Rockets. So even in the playoffs, we find a way.
You stupid.
Buzzer's working. Tested the buzzer. It's working.
To bang on the Houston worst team in the second quarter. Is there anything they can do? No, Klay, I think one of the things we saw is he just can't get by anybody, no matter who's guarding him. He can't get into the lane, and that was always one of the understated things about, back before Klay had all these injuries, is Klay and Steph shooting the threes and Draymond. Mm-hmm. But their streaking and cutting to the basket was just so important and so essential. And now Klay going to the basket is no threat whatsoever. And then when you got Looney and Draymond not providing any type of offense, it's a real problem. I mean, Robert Williams played 24 minutes and had as many points as Draymond and Looney did combined. So if that continues, you're not going to be able to get it. And talking about the rest, talk about a big 24 minutes from Robert Williams. Huge blocks, such a big body in there. The stats aren't going to show how important he is, but think about if they don't have that rest. There's no way he plays 24 minutes. You're lucky to get 8 to 10 out of him. And now here we go. They don't play till Sunday. So this rest is really, really benefiting Boston. I think if I'm Boston, I roll the dice and I really try and get as physical as I possibly can and try and really beat up Golden State. You've already got the split. I would try and put as many miles on Klay and in particular Steph as I could. I would risk some of these fouls and I make the refs call a lot of them because I think that's their biggest advantage they have right now is just how big, tough, strong, and bigger and more physical than they are than Golden State right now.
Yeah, and I don't think there's going to be any more sitting on double-digit leads for Golden State. They kind of really approached that fourth quarter like they were playing Denver again. Like, nah, all right, we'll just, let's all chill out. We've got, bullshit. The Boston Celtics were like, listen, I don't care how many threes you score, Steph. We don't care. We're going to keep coming at you. We're going to keep coming at you. They're physical. They're younger. The size is obviously a problem. And really, I can't wait to see the adjustments Steve Kerr makes with some of these rotations. Now, Peyton, I believe, will be back, or at least hope to be back here in another game or so. I think it's all hands on deck here with Golden State moving forward, but got to figure out, will they be going to Boston, knotted up at one apiece, or will they be heading to the East Coast? Oh, boy, looking to jump ship down 2-0. So let's talk some best bets here, gentlemen. And quick reminder, too, all of their best bets are ready to rock and roll over at WagerTalk.com. Make sure you visit Merril there. He is coming off of that sweep in the MLB. He's ready to go again, heading into this weekend, as is Andy Lang and Tony Mejia and France. So let us make sure that we visit all three of these gentlemen and make sure it is an extremely profitable weekend here. So we're going to start with you, Andy. 60 seconds on the clock. Talk to us. Best bet here for this upcoming game. What are you looking at?
Well, favorite bet is up on WagerTalk.com. It's a 4%. Almost really wanted to try a 5%er, but just came up just a little bit short. So we'll go with 4%. That is up right now for Sunday's game. MLB is up, and very proud. Last week, biggest day in auto racing. So it was a big day for me, and I went 6-1. So really, really happy. We're hitting 65% of auto racing plays. That's NASCAR, Formula One. So got to give a shout out to that. We got a NASCAR race. My best bet is just Andrew Wiggins. I keep talking about this guy going over his points, and he just quietly does it. Did it again. His points is 16.5. He had 20, and he's going to need to score. With Clay struggling a little bit and Poole being in a funk or whatever, and Draymond not being able to shoot, Andrew Wiggins is their, 2B or, third scorer. But I'm looking at his point totals: 20, 18, 13, 27, 16, 19, 18. He's getting right around there. He keeps cashing this. Give me Andrew Wiggins over 16.5.
Boom! Expecting Wiggins to get it going. A nice 60-1 shot to win the MVP if he can get that ball rolling downhill. I like what Ben said. Ben said, listen, they got to get Poole going offensively. Got to try to find and get him in some sort of a rhythm here, which will certainly make life difficult for what the Celtics are going to counter with that. But Merril, come on, man. Talk to us. Best bet here as we head into a huge weekend, not only in the NBA, but, of course, the MLB. What do you got for a best bet?
Yeah, quick reminder, best bets at WagerTalk.com each and every day. Also going to have a weekend video instead of a baseball just a bit outside. We're going to do an NBA Finals fade the public style. I know it works well in the NFL. It works well in the NFL playoffs. I want to do it for the NBA Finals. By the way, public was pretty heavy on Golden State in Game 1. Did not work out for them. Let's see where they are for Game 2. So check out Wager Talk TV this weekend for the public information and more insight for Game 2. Don't forget, perfect 3-0 sweep last night on Thursday. 67% in baseball for both May and June combined. Get the rest of MLB through the World Series the next 5 months for a super discount, $4.99, and you get the rest of the NBA Finals included for free. Big Game 1 best bet winner, part of that 3-0 sweep. We're going to do it again this weekend. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Let's look for Al Horford to go under 11.5 points in Game 2. He was lights out, 26 points in Game 1, 6 for 8 from 3. He averages only 1.5 threes a game. He'd scored 10 or less in 7 of the previous 9 playoff games. Let's look under 11.5 Al Horford Game 2. Check out WagerTalk.com.
Boom! The fade is on. I love it. Julio wants to know where Ski's at. You didn't think he was really going to show up here, did you? Come on, Tony Mejia. Talk to us, my friend. What is going on? I know you're locked and loaded here in a monster weekend for you. I mean, you've got soccer, the MLB, obviously NBA. So what do you got locked and loaded? And give us a best bet here.
Yeah, we'll have more soccer all weekend. The United States plays again on Sunday in a big one against Uruguay, I believe. And then a big friendly for them because they need some confidence. Slovakia gets there over Belarus, Joe. I'm very excited about that. And then my over 4% in France, Denmark. So we're up to 7-2 on the soccer run. More of that, more of the baseball, and obviously an NBA. Hopefully 5% because I just need to see one more thing to pull the trigger on that as to what I want to do for game 2. And my best bet is Robert Williams to go over 13.5 points and rebounds. He did it in game 1 with 8 and 6, and only 4 shots, 4 from the field. A big lob that he got in the fourth quarter from Jaylen Brown that forced Golden State to call a timeout and really was the beginning of the end for them. And I think he's going to be more active because I don't think Horford's going to be as effective. And I do think Williams was tremendous, and he had an impact on an Andre Iguodala turnover, and came back and had a big block on the very next possession. So Robert Williams will play a lot, over 8 and 6, over 13.5 points and rebounds.
Well, that's because somebody had to bring up Houston, and now he's pissed off. All right, here we go. One more time as we recap it here. Andy Lang, he'd like Wiggins to go up and over that 16.5 points. They need somebody to step up here. Merrill, he thinks somebody's going to step down, and this is a birthday weekend for Al Horford. Happy birthday there, Al. 36 here today. Merrill still fading your ass, though. Under 11.5 points, not anticipating the 20-something points. While Tony Mejia does think Robert Williams, healthy enough, is going to get the minutes enough. He likes it up and over to 13.5 points and rebounds. Now, you guys will be, you'll know, and Redman cracking me up. Ski's wearing his Laker jersey today because he doesn't want anybody to know that he's actually a now, shall we say, what is the word we're looking for? Now some sort of Golden State
bandwagon
and Steph fan. Yeah, right. So, yes, he is absolutely back wearing his Lakers gear. We did last night, Rob Dino, Robert, our producer, and I, we were worried about Ski after that game because he was on this show very adamant. Like, he gave us the finger, Merrill. You know, like, they don't lose at home. They don't. And, of course, to make matters worse, Tony Finn was all over the Celtics, so it was not a good scene. We did put out a welfare check on him. We sent 911 over there just to make sure he was good to go. And I did get a text back late last night from Ski that said, all right, so the Warriors win in 4 games to 1. So what? All right, so there you go. Ski is not backing off the Golden State Warriors winning this thing in 5 games now instead of the
11-1, Joe.
Yeah, I know.
That's the highest odds on the board right now. Seriously, every combination is 6-1 or less. Everything else is 6-1 or less, and that's 11-1 because they got to win 4 straight.
Ski, he doubled down.
Yeah, Shaq, who also picked the Warriors and was adamant about it, he compared game 1, even though he tipped his hat to the Boston Celtics and Horford, he compared game 1 to his Lakers losing to Philadelphia way back in the day and then winning 4 straight. So that's very interesting.
Listen, the smack in the head, it's real. I mean, it wasn't like they were pushed very hard up until this point. So I think Boston stood their ground. I think Golden State, they got to wake up here and get it done on Sunday's game. But it shouldn't stop you guys from heading over. Make sure you visit all 3 of these gentlemen at WagerTalk.com. Go grab those best bets. Or go grab one of those 3-day, 7-day, 30-day all-access packages, and you know what? You'll get every play from these guys in every sport, including their 5% best bets now. So visit them over at WagerTalk.com. Big shout-out to Ben, Sean, Revenant, Julio, you guys hanging out in the chat room today. Do us a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and then make plans. We'll be back Monday breaking it down. Game number 2 on Sunday. On Monday, we'll break it down, and we'll look ahead to game number 3 and see if we can't find some edges to make it yet another profitable week here as the NBA, well, we're that much closer to crowning a champion here. And on behalf of Andy, Tony Mejia, and Steve Merril, guys, we appreciate it. Best of luck with your plays, not only today, but all throughout the weekend. And we'll talk to you again on Monday. Good luck, guys. We'll see you then.
WagerTalk and Sports Memo customers love $9 Mondays, where each package is just $9. For a limited time from June 1st until June 7th, we're offering a 30-day all-access pass from your favorite handicapper for $210. That's only $7 per day. This special includes all daily plays from your favorite handicapper every day for 30 days, including 5% plays normally priced at $39 alone. Use coupon code June30, good for multiple uses at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. Once you sign up, you'll get every play sent